Hi, and welcome to turn 9 of GMT Wing Leader Eagles 43-45 Schlachtflieger scenario. I think we're on the back end of the scenario here. We've just got our two bombers to come, which would be the FW-190s here, and they are, well, they're almost on target. On the Soviet side, we do still have this Yak-9 and this Yak-9 still operating. We also have the Lavochkin flight here as well, veteran flight. And we have the P-39 squadron, the expert veteran squadron there as well. So still a few Russian interceptors around, although quite a lot are disrupted. Three are disrupted now. Disrupted, disrupted, and disrupted. So it's only this Yak-9 that's still okay, and of course, ammo state is not brilliant on them either. So yeah, no interceptors on the no escorts on the German side anymore. The 109s have cleared off, so we've really got a fighter versus bomber fight for the rest of the game. So let's look at tallying, and the only guy who doesn't have a tally at the moment on the Soviet side is the Yak-9. 190s won't tally at the moment. They want to stay as bombers for the moment, although that may change very quickly next turn. With our Yak-9 here, should we try and attack the 190s rather than the Henschels? Henschels are easier prey to hit, but on losses it's pretty difficult to actually get any significant losses on them with a firepower of 1, and the protection on a Henschel is 5-6, so you need at least a 7 to get a loss. So effectively you have to roll a 6, add 1 for firepower. So these are really tough to deal with when you're not the P-39. The Yak-3. The Yak-3 is cleared off, and the P-39 is over here with the Stukas off camera over there. So maybe it's worth leaving the Henschels done now, because they are going to return to base anyway. The Lavochkin can still do some damage there with a firepower of 2 though. So yeah, maybe you could stay on it. The Yak-9, I think we'll try and do a tally onto this 190 here. So that's drop the tally, and we will. Where's the Q tally? Q tally is here. We'll attempt to get it onto F, and it's 1 space away. Should really be straightforward to do. It is, so anything but a 1, yeah, that's good. So Q has spotted it. R, attempt to find G. 1 space, however, it is a green squadron, that Yak-9. It's amazing it's still actually here. So needs a 3. No, it doesn't. So the Yak-9 actually misses its tally, which means it's going to end up circling there. That's the tally phase, really. So beyond that, we'll keep tallies that we have and move on to the movement phase. Right, and I think starting at the bombers, so this Henschel will keep going to head off home. Q is no longer tallying that, so that Henschel gets to move. This Henschel, 1, 2, moves across here as well, and of course N has tallied it, so he will follow here as well. So it's getting nice and congested just around here. Lots of aircraft buzzing around those tank formations. Okay, we can move across to this Stuka here. Oh no, we have a Stuka here at 0 still. So remove the dive marker and he'll head for home as well. Move the wing display and he'll go here. So remember, bombers can exit from any edge of the map. So the Stukas are heading this way, the Henschel's back here. Okay, next is the Stuka here, moves on, P39, oops, the P39 will stay with it and attempt to knock a few more Stukas out of the air. And then we're off to the FW190s here. So I think what we'll have is this FW190 will hit this tank, this FW190 will hit this tank. Okay, so the air-to-ground rockets, which is what the 190s will be using, very similar to the strafing. Needs to be at altitude 0, can be adjacent, although you do get a penalty, so we don't want to do that, and I think we therefore will end up here for this 190F and down here for this 190F. Now, interestingly enough, of course, that Yak 9 has not seen these FW190s coming in, has no tally on them. Need a dive marker, and of course we take their air-to-ground rocket loads and we will put them on to the targets. There. Okay, nobody has tallied. F has been tallied by Q actually. So Q here will turn and engage with the lead squadron there, and after that we are left with the only formation not moved is the Yak 9 here, which has no tally, so therefore will circle, unfortunately. So he'll just stay there circling, not knowing exactly what's going on. Okay, so that's the movement phase, and then so we will do any direct flak attacks, of which there will be 2 with our small arms at the start of the combat phase. Yeah, so small arm zeros onto the FW190s. So using the bombing profile on the flat table, it's going to be a 0. They are direct fire, so it's +1 for altitude 6 or less, so +1 on the dice. So for this tank formation here, we have, looks like it's coming up here, 9 going to a 10, and a 10 is a -1 to the bombing profile. Good shot there. And here likewise with a +1. Oh, sorry, 2 dice. A 5 will be nothing. Okay, so now we've done the direct flak, we'll resolve the bombing attacks. So the FW190Fs, if we look at the air data card here, so this is the A8, but the F is a variant of the A8. If we flip over here, the F8 has an air-to-ground rocket 10 ability, so its bombing value is 10. Right, so we will do a bombing roll using that value. Okay, So here's our bombing table. Altitude modifier is 0 for the bomb site. The bomb site is a T. That's always 0 for altitude 0. We are doing a rocket attack, so it's +3. So it was attacked by flak. This one here has a has a -1 bombing profile. So that's +2 now, and they're not veteran or green. So it's a +2 on the dice on this table here. That's a 6 going to an 8, and on an 8 we have a 25% of 10. So the actual number of hits, 25% of 10, 2.5 is, I believe, is round up. Yeah, that's correct. So that is 3 hits onto here, which goes to 7. See if I do have a 7 hit marker here. And here we roll pretty much the same roll. It's a +2 bombing attack. A 9 going to an 11. Now an 11 is 50%, as you can see there. So that's going to be 5 hits. So that 1 hit turns into 6 hits. This is quite significant, I think. It's a lot of victory points to be gained there. So remove our air-to-ground rocket and the bombing profile negative from the board, and that's all the bombing. So those FW190Fs are now no longer bombers. They actually can act like fighters now. Right. And so let's look at the combat phase, I believe, for the air-to-air combat. So we have a combat here, we have a combat here, and we also have a combat way over here. So I'll set all those up and we'll go through them. So I've decided to set these up one by one so we can get everything in the frame, including the air data cards. So the P39 against the Ju-87 Stuka, we have a 6 on speed. 6, we have a -1 for disrupted, +1 for veteran, so stays on a 6. We have an expert, so therefore we get a +1 on the dice. And with the Stuka we have a 3 for speed. However, we are broken, so that goes to a 2. So that's 6 to 2, +4 to -4, with a +1 on the Russian side. So look at the cards here. So for the Russians, +4 on that column, -4 for the Germans. Let's roll the dice. And for the, I always do the pluses first. I didn't announce it, but there you go. That's an 11, +1 is 12. That's another 4 hits. Now, 4 hits is interesting. Because the Stuka squadron has 12 aircraft in it and it's already lost 8. So that could actually eliminate the rest of the squadron. -4 on the hit back is an 8, is nothing, I'm afraid. So 4 hits, and we have the P39, 2 firepower, 4 defense, but there is an expert. So that's +3 on the dice against a protection of 4. Doesn't sound like it's great news for the Stuka squadron to survive this, but let's roll the first 2. A 4 is a loss. A 1 +3 of 4 is a straggler. It already does have a straggler. You just see slightly off camera here. That straggler turns into a loss, and we have another loss to mark. But let's roll the other 2. +3 on the dice again. A 4 and a 3, so that's a 6 and a 7. So yeah, we have 3 losses here, and I think that means that's it for that Stuka squadron. It's been downed completely. Right. Cohesion checks. I don't think I need to make one for the Stuka. It's broken anyway, so it's not going to make any difference. On the P39, though, this is, yeah, this could be interesting here. So we were attacking, so +1 for that, and veteran, so +2. Though we have a ammo depleted marker for -2, and that's it. It's a straight roll for the P39. That's not a great roll. Only a 4. So a 4 is 1 disruption, so it does finally break. But I'm not surprised with all that heavy work it's done against the Stukas. So no dogfight here. Everybody's broken, and in fact, I believe the Ju-87 squadron is actually removed from the game. So let's set up for the next combat. Our second combat here is the FW-190F, which has loosed its rockets against the furthest most tank, and the Yak-9, which had tallied it. So as the attacker, the Yak-9 will use turning as its combat, so it has a value of 7. There's no particular modifiers to that. The 190A, now it doesn't have the rockets on it, can use its full turn, which is 6. It has a speed marker, but that doesn't help for a turning combat. However, the 190's speed is actually 6 + 1, 7 to the Yak-9's 6. This means that the 190 can choose to evade. The upshot of that means it's a -1 on each combat roll. So just trying to keep out of the way. So yeah, those are the combat rolls. So let's just get them done. So on the Russian side, it's a +1 on +1 table, -1 on the dice. So it's not a great roll. 6 going to a 5 is no loss, just. So that evasion made all the difference. And the 190 on the -1 table, -1 is an 8. Better roll, going to a 7. That's actually a loss. So the 190 actually causes a loss on the Yak. The 190's firepower is actually 3. Wow. So that's +3 on the dice, and the Yak-9's protection is 4. So this is looking like a loss. 3 + 3, 6 certainly is. So there's a loss on the Yak-9. Makes it 2. And on a cohesion check, this is yeah, not very good for the Yak-9 here, I think. So we were attacking, gives us a +1. However, 2 losses and an ammo depletion here, so that's -4 for that. So we have a -3 on the dice. Let's see how that cohesion goes. That's a decent roll, an 8. -3 is a 5. A 5 is disrupted. There's 1 level of disruption. So we can apply that. And on the 190 side, no losses, no low ammo, etc. So it's just a straight roll. Oh, a terrible double one. Double 1 it's broken. Oh dear. That's very bad luck for the 190, which means it won't be able to retaliate. It's going to head straight back to base. Mind you, with the carnage that's been going on, I'm not sure I'd blame it. Anyway, let's get on with the third combat, which is the Henschel 129. Right, actually I made an error there. There is no third combat. The Henschel was going to be attacked by the Lavochkin flight. However, the Lavochkin flight was disrupted last turn, which means it actually breaks because it's a flight, not a squadron. So that couldn't have happened. So we put the Lavochkin flight to flight, if you like, heading off home, just about to screech past the remaining Stuka flight. So we don't have a huge number of operating non-broken aircraft anymore now. So we just have the Yak-9 here, Q. We have the green, evergreen, I think, Yak-9 there. And that's it. Our P-39 over here is heading for home. The LA-5 is heading for home. And the one of the 190s is heading for home. So only this 190 is still unbroken, or at least returning to base on the German side. Okay, so what I think we'll do is just jump straight into turn 10 and just keep going, I think, because there's not a huge amount of combat to go here. What I will do is I will remove the P-39 here from the game to escape, because there's nobody anywhere near it to do anything about it. I would probably likewise do something with that Lavochkin as well, because he's not going to be bothered by the Stuka heading for home, and the 190 over here, I don't think he's going to venture over here to try and do anything to him. So those can go. I think we could actually remove this Stuka as well, because again, I doubt whether Q will get over to bother with him. I think he'd rather be concerned with what's over here. So we will remove that. We could roll for it, but I'm just going to administratively declare them escaping. Yeah, so we're left with the aircraft over here. So on the tally phase, we now have a new tally possibility, which is the FW190 here. And who does it want to tally? Possibly it may want to tally Q. That's to give its other 190 squadron a break. Now it's broken, haha. So yeah, we will attempt to tally there, and it's no longer in a bombing mode, but I believe in a sweep mode. So yeah, that's a 1 needed. And let's just that roll done. Oh, doesn't see it. Right. Okay, fails to see it. Our squadron up here. Well, does Q want to keep going with 190? They are quite tough, actually. Not generally because of their protection, although the protection is not bad. It's just that their firepower of 3 and also their speed, etc. I'm not sure that we want the Yak-9 to jump on it again and also come away with a loss. So, but I think we will stick with that tally. That's fine. This Yak-9 possibly try to get on the tail of that 129 again. I'm not sure I want to actually tussle too much with the FW190s. It may end up coming off the worst. So yeah, an attempt down here for a spot. That's 2 spaces. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, there's a spot there. So R spots X. Okay. Right, and that's all the tallying. So we're down to movement. So the only bombers still on the board are actually the 129s. So these are heading off home. If I look across this side here, X will move 1, 2, and the Yak-9 will be able to move straight after it. So not circling anymore. And 1, 2 with a dive. Oh, actually, could we out of the sun? 1, yeah, 2, 3. Yes, we will get an out of the sun bonus by doing that. Then our other Henschel moving to spots again. Our 190F. So I will check whether he's in sweep mode now. Yes, he definitely does switch to a sweep mission. We could potentially strafe. However, I think what we might want to do is to form up with the Henschels, I think, and maybe try and get the yaks off them. So we will do a form up, which is a sweep possibility, and move 1, 2, 3. Yeah, possibly try and pick up the Yak 9 over here. This 190F is of course returning home, so we'll move 1, 2, 3, and Q of course can follow. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, the 190 needed to have turned as well, so they're both in this square here. So everybody's running along the bottom of the board here, and that means we have 2 combats here, one here and one here. So I'll sort those out for turn 10. Right, so taking it from the back, we have the broken FW190F fighter bomber, now a fighter, and the Yak 9 attacking it. So again, doing a turning fight, 7, -1 for disruption, a 6. We have the 190A, which is a 6 on turn. However, it of course is broken, so it's a 5. Can still evade though, equal 6 versus, the basic speed is 6 versus 6, so can evade, so -1 on each side. Let's see how they fare here. So the Soviet attack on the +1, -1 table with -1 is a 5 going to a 4, which is nothing. And for the 190F on the -1 table, -1 on the dice. Oh, a 10. 10 going to a 9, and that is a 9 is a loss again. So this is really not very profitable for the Soviets here, as the FW190 seem to be able to handle themselves pretty well. Firepower of 3, so that's +1 on the dice for the losses. Oh, sorry, only 1 dice. Well, they were both 3, so I'll take it as a 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Yeah, that is definitely a loss. And on cohesion checks, the 190 is already broken, so we don't need to really roll. Here, the Yak 9 was attacking, but has 3 losses and is ammo depleted, so it's -5, -4 then for the roll. That's definitely broken. So, yep, we have the Yak 9 broken here. Not surprising, really. It really wasn't doing very well against the 190. Okay, let's set up the second combat. Okay, so here we are. We've got the Yak 9 diving out of the sun. So it's doing a speed, which would mean it was a 6 plus 1 is 7 against the 129's 3. So 7 against 3 plus 4 minus 4 doesn't really matter. That's the maximum table anyway. There is the bounce out the sun, so -1 to the Henschel, +1 to the Yak 9. So let's roll. those results. So the attack by the yak, +4 table, +1 on the dice. Whoa, big roll there. So 10 goes to 11. 10 and 11 is 4 hits. But remember, these henschels are really tough. And the attack back, which is on the -4 table, -1 on the dice, would have to be pretty good, and that's not good enough, so no losses. So 4 hits possible on the henschel, and we have firepower of 1, so +1 there, and that's all. And of course you see the henschel's protection of 5-6, so this will be, even though there's 4 rolls, it's probably going to struggle to get any losses here, but let's see what we get. So first loss, 5 +1 is a 6, that is a straggler, like that. So something. Second roll, a 3 +1 is 4, no effect. Third hit, a 2 is no effect, and finally a 5 +1 is a 6, which is another straggler, so that straggler turns into a loss. So we did get a loss out of those 4 hits. Pretty tough, those henschels. Right, so the henschel itself, it's not broken, so we can roll an adhesion table for it. So it has 2 losses. It wasn't attacking, and it is ammo depleted, so that's -4 on the dice roll. Uh, 7 goes to a 3, so that is disrupted as a bomber. And big roll here for the Yak 9. 1 loss, and it's green, and is low ammo. So that's -1, -2, -3. -3, let's flip that ammo marker over. +1 for attacking. So -2 on the dice, and it's already disrupted. Oh, that'll do it. So yeah. So 5 -2, yeah, so that is actually broken as well. This means that is all the Russian interceptors broken, so this is pretty much end of game, unless the FW-190 wants to pursue any of the Russian fighter squadrons. Anyway, let's get this back to the main board and let's review. Right, so here we are. Yeah, so it's really down to what we want to do with this 190F, possibly to pursue this Yak. Let's see how we go with that. We'll need to move on to turn 12. Sorry, turn 11, I think. Yes, turn 11. And see how we go. So first thing we need to do, of course, is tallying. The only thing that can tally is this 190. We'll attempt to tally this broken Yak 9, pretty much because this Yak 9 is behind it, so it'd probably be tougher. So that's 1, 2 to spot it. Now if it doesn't spot it this turn, that's probably the end of the game. But let's see. A 2 does not. Okay, so that's the very, very short tally phase. And then we do movement, and of course it's bombers first. The X129 and the V129 move on. The 190F moves up to escort. That's what it's doing, form up here, and the other 190 moves up here as well. We remove the dive marker here. The Yak 3 is moving 1, 2, 3 this way, as is this Yak turning around. and moving 1, 2, 3 this way. Probably end of game, to be honest. The 190 isn't going to spot the Russian fighters now, and so these will just return home now with the escorts, with the escort fighter as well. So that's the end of the scenario, pretty much. So we will let's tot up the points. Right, so totting up the points here. On the Russian side, so this will be scoring for the Germans. Number of losses we have here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fighters lost. Okay, so I've marked that. Now we come on to the ground forces. So the defence I think it's damage values here, which is this number to the side. So 6 hits is just greater than the 5 damage value. So that's exceeding the damage value, means it's been heavily damaged, and you get the victory points for that unit. And that unit, of course, has 3 victory points. So that's 3 victory points there. Let's just mark them down. Here, likewise, 7 greater than 5, but not double. So again, another 3 victory points. Sorry, that should be here. And here over in the troops here, we have a damage value of 3, but we have 14 hits. That is fatal damage, which means you get triple the VP value. VP value is 2. So 2 times 3, 6. So 6 VPs for that. And that is what the Germans have scored, which, running a little calculation here, 6, and that's 12, 12 and 11 is 23 in total. Okay, that's 23 there. Let's zoom out. So I'll put 23 on the German side, shall we say, for the points. Now on to the points scored against the German aircraft. Let's zoom in here. So we've got a few lost times 3s. We've got the really bad Stuka squadron here, which took 12 losses. So that's 12 points. Everything is 1 victory point, even though the Henschel 129s are noted as being 2 victory points per loss. For this scenario, they're only 1. So again, we're just counting up the markers. That's 12 there, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, because that's a times 3, 22, 23. So 23 losses versus 23 victory points versus 23 victory points. Wow, that sounds like a draw, but it really depends on what this scenario says is the values for victory. And if we look at the Schlachtflieger victory conditions, a Soviet victory is +4 or less. That's subtracting Soviet from German victory points, and it's a 0. So it is a Soviet victory by a decent margin. So yeah, the Soviets, even though they took quite a hammering on the ground, took out a lot of aircraft, and I think significant was the P-39 really wiping out that Stuka squadron there. So yeah, so a +4 victory for the Soviets after all that. So that's our third playthrough of Wing Leader Eagles complete. I did promise 3, and I've done 3, even though this third one was a little different than I initially said it was. But anyway, hopefully if you've seen all the videos, if you've been able to stomach the entire series, you'll have a really good idea of how to play Wing Leader Eagles. It's a great game. I really enjoyed playing it. Very unique take, and yeah, it's a highly recommended system for air combat, World War II air combat, squadron level air combat. So if you made it this far, thanks very much. And yeah, hope to see you for the next series of videos soon. But for that, thanks for watching.